Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into an event that totally rewrote the rules of global sports by fundamentally changing the mathematics of competition. The 2026 FIFA World Cup, hosted across the US, Canada, and Mexico, was this massive, unprecedented celebration of football. But to really grasp the ripple effect this tournament had across the globe, we have to start with one very specific, absolutely crucial catalyst. 48. That is the magic number. Jumping to 48 national teams wasn't just some minor tweak, it was a total earthquake in the global football landscape. It entirely shifted the competitive balance, throwing a quarter of the world's recognized nations into the mix, and, as you'll see, set the stage for an absolute roller coaster of a tournament. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's how we're going to break down the impact of this massive format change. 1. The biggest World Cup ever. 2. Rise of the underdogs. 3. Titans of the game. 4. Unprecedented group stage drama. And finally, 5. A lasting global legacy. Section 1. The biggest World Cup ever. A historic tournament across North America. The sheer scale of this event was mind-blowing. We're talking fans covering distances between venues that felt way more like international flights than domestic road trips. But the true scale wasn't about the geography, it was about access. Because of this 48-team format, smaller nations that had previously only dreamed of football's biggest stage finally had a chance to step onto the pitch. Years of sacrifice paid off, and let me tell you, they didn't just show up to take photos, they showed up to compete. Section 2. Rise of the underdogs. A new era of David versus Goliath. This expanded field immediately delivered absolute chaos, and this brilliantly illustrates that shift. Because the mathematical odds of qualifying increased, the traditional hierarchy of global football was totally thrown out the window. I mean, we saw an African team shock a former world champion with this wild last-minute goal. We watched a debuting nation, a country that had never even been to the tournament, earn its first ever World Cup win. And back home, these victories weren't just sports highlights. They literally sparked national holidays. It proved a vital new reality for the sport. Success is not always determined by history or reputation. Hard work, belief, and unity can overcome even the strongest opponents. These smaller teams captured the world's imagination because they proved that on any given day, pure heart and determination can topple decades of pedigree. Section 3. Titans of the game. Traditional powers face new challengers. Of course, the established giants of football weren't just going to hand over the trophy, right? But with the expanded field, these traditional powerhouses suddenly entered a landscape filled with unpredictable, hungry new challengers. It created this incredible, constant contrast on the pitch. You had debuting underdogs playing with unyielding determination, fighting tooth and nail for their very first points. And on the other side, the traditional giants, armed with world-class players who can flip a game on its head in a split second. The Titans countered all that underdog heart with some lethal tactical identity. You had Brazil relying on their signature creative attacking football to just entertain and overwhelm. France brought remarkable speed and top-tier technical skill. And Germany countered the chaos with ironclad discipline and tactical excellence. These distinct, lethal styles meant that every single time a Titan took the field against an underdog, it was an absolute must-watch event. Section 4. Unprecedented group stage drama. Chaos, comebacks, and pure tension. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how crazy things get when you mix 48 teams into limited knockout spots. The margins become razor thin. Fates were decided by a single goal difference. We saw dramatic late draws that totally flipped the standings. There were these massive refuse-to-surrender comebacks from 2 goals down. And wow, in one incredibly memorable match, a team that experts had completely written off secured their qualification with a stunning free kick in the dying minutes. The atmosphere was absolutely electric. So, once the dust finally settled on that chaotic group stage, the entire world was left asking one huge question: who survives the ultimate test? Lifting the trophy in this expanded format was a grueling gauntlet. Step 1, survive the group chaos. Step 2, navigate the pressure cooker quarterfinal battles. Step 3, the semifinals, the absolute peak of football competition. And finally, Step 4, the ultimate summit, the grand final. The mental strength required to navigate these knockout rounds was just staggering. One match in particular was so fiercely contested it turned into a completely scoreless, 120-minute agonizing battle. No room for a single mistake. It had to be decided by a penalty shootout. And when the victorious goalkeeper saved that final shot, he was instantly transformed from a rising star into a certified national hero. That is the razor-thin margin between heartbreak and history. By the semifinals, this 48-team crucible had refined the field down to the absolute elite, and the diversity in playstyles was amazing. The first semifinal was pure, breathtaking action, just fearless attacking from both sides, a total shootout. But the second semifinal, it was this tense, careful tactical masterpiece, with coaches making brilliant strategy adjustments on the fly. Which brings us to the grand final itself. The narrative arc of this match was like something out of a movie. We get an early opening goal that instantly floods the stadium with nervous energy. But the opposing side responds with fierce determination, bagging a crucial equalizer right before halftime. The second half is a grueling test of endurance, until with literally minutes remaining, a perfectly timed pass brilliantly splits the defense. The striker calmly finishes it, the winning goal seals history, and the final whistle sparks scenes of pure, unfiltered joy. Section 5. A lasting global legacy. The power of a 48-team universal language. The true, lasting impact of this tournament was the universal language it created. While rivalries were super fierce on the field, off the field, fans of 48 different nations were sitting right side by side, exchanging scarves, sharing meals, learning about each other's cultures. The tournament achieved its ultimate goal of proving that sport can foster incredible respect and unity, bringing us all together. Structurally, the legacy is totally undeniable. Expanding to a 48-team format didn't just scale up a month-long event. It permanently expanded the global game. It boosted tourism in the host cities, brought millions of brand new fans into the sport, and provided emerging nations with the financial and cultural momentum they need to build their own footballing futures. The ripple effect of the biggest World Cup in history is going to be felt for decades. The underdogs, the heroes, those chaotic group stages, they all prove that football is way more than just a game. So I'll leave you with this to ponder. As football academies all around the world absorb the lessons of 2026, how will this 48-team legacy inspire the next generation to dream even bigger? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring the fascinating stories behind the beautiful game.